Hey everybody, what is going on? So we're back in the sales script, and here what we're gonna do is we're gonna dive into the next part of filling out the sales script. Now, we already covered rapport, agenda, and pain in the first time we did this. Now we're gonna dive into the budget, authority, and time. So this portion pretty much comes after the pain section of your sales call or sales meeting, and let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into budget first, and let's go ahead and view that. So in this part, what you want to do is after you talk about the pain, you're going to talk about the budget. So when it comes to the budget, what you want to first do as you transition into talking about the budget, you want to summarize 3 to 5 critical pain points. So an example is, okay, so like you mentioned, Tim, some of the main challenges you're facing are pain 1, pain 2, pain 3. Is that everything? And then the prospect will either say, yes, that's everything, and you move on. If they say no, what you want to do is you want to go back into the pain step because you're not ready to talk about the budget because you didn't cover all of this person's pain. Now, do that until they finally say yes, and you move on to the next part of the call. Now you say, okay, Tim, usually when I work with companies like yours, they'll usually have a monthly budget set aside for digital marketing. Let's say you're selling digital marketing services. Then you say, I was curious to know if this was something you were thinking about too. And the prospect might respond, that makes sense. I have an idea, but I haven't set a concrete budget quite yet, right? You'll always get these phrases where people don't really tell you an exact number. So what you want to do is you want to get that range. And you say, okay, Tim, that's totally fine. Now, if you were to ballpark how much you were thinking about spending per month on digital marketing, what would that look like? And the prospect might say, honestly, I'm not sure. You say, okay, no worries. Let's see if I can help you here. Are you thinking of 1,000 to 5,000, or were you thinking of 5,000 to 10,000? And they might be saying, oh, well, now that you say that, most likely between 5 to 10,000. Now, of course, we already covered a lot of different ways you can uncover someone's budget, but I want to give you an hypothetical example of how you would do this by first transitioning by talking about 3 main pain points and then getting into finding the budget or getting a range if they don't give you a number right away. So that's pretty much everything when it comes to budget. Again, do it in your own style. You can kind of just change the text up over here and use a lot of the things I taught you so far. Now we're going to move into the next part, which is the authority and time, right? So when it comes to authority and time, what we want to do is we then want to summarize all of the critical pains that we already talked about. And then you want to summarize what happened to the budget, meaning you have like some kind of range. And then you transition into the decision-making process, meaning who is the authority figure that is going to say yes, and what are the steps to make that happen. So an example is, all right, Tim, so it seems like you have XYZ challenges like we talked about, and you have a budget or somewhat of a budget to solve those challenges. Am I accurate here? Then they're going to say, yeah, we did just talk about that. Then you want to say, so let's say we can help you. Is there anyone else you feel we should involve here? And the prospect might say, nope, I'm the decision maker. I own the company, and that's it. And that's fine if that's the case. Or they might say, yeah, we actually need to get my boss on the line. So regardless of how the prospect is going to answer you at this point, you want to ask more questions to fully understand their decision-making process at their company. So you say, all right, that's fine. Is there an ideal time of when you want to take care of this? And so what you're doing is that whether or not they are the decision maker or if they're not the decision maker, you want to ask more questions to really understand the process that you have to go through before they actually close the deal. So that goes into the who, what, where, when, how, and why, right? Who makes the decision? What's their role? What's involved in each decision-making step? Things like that. Why are decisions made this way? So the whole point of this is to understand every single step that it takes for a person to actually make a decision at their company and close a deal. So this essentially is how you want to figure out the authority of who exactly you should be dealing with. And at times, if the boss is not on the line, that's totally fine. Get all this information, and then at the end of the call, we're going to show you how to schedule the next meeting so you know exactly what to do moving forward. And when it comes to time, right, that's essentially just this when part. When will the decision be made? So it could be made within the month, next month, made on the same call you're talking to the person with, right? So always figure out why they're making the decision in a certain way and why exactly they say they need a certain amount of time, because a lot of times you can actually shorten their sales cycle and close the deal faster. So with that said, again, that's pretty much everything we have to cover when it comes to budget, authority, and time. Use your own style, use your own questions, and fill it out how you want to fill it out. But again, if you want to just follow my template for now, see how it works, and then adjust as you move forward, that is going to be totally fine. So with that said, that's everything we have to cover when it comes to this portion of the sales script, and I'm going to see you guys in the next lesson.